Did Drake cancel the Iceman album? Now, I haven't been on social media all weekend because I've been in Canelo Crawford mode. Shout out to Crawford, big 402 energy. But I saw that Drake, Lawbury Graham, Snitch God. I saw that one of his songs leaked from that album where he's dissing DeRozan and kind of talking about Kendrick's lyrics and stuff. But now I'm seeing where they're saying that the Iceman album is completely canceled. I don't know if that's true. According to Fantastic Hip Hop, let's get to it.
Now, when it comes
What we
to
talking about?
Drake, well, now, if you are ready to see how the Ice Spice Man's Iceman album is melting, and this is all because a bunch of the album has
Document 79 out right now. Go check that out. Link is in the pinned comment. I'm almost. Let me check exactly how many views it has right now.
leaked, and Drake really now does want to cancel it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And now, really, as Drake's Iceman album is currently getting leaked, and with this, we are seeing him have a meltdown over it, and he is really now about to ruin the entire thing. Leave all those likes because today is going to be a good one, as now with the cup.
Document 79 is at 299,000 views. Who's going to be the 300,000 view? Go check it out.
Hey, Karen himself. What we have found out, or at the very least, what the narrative being framed to us is, well, is that in terms of what is being presented to us now, the new Drake snippet that dropped of the Iceman episode 2B, where we actually heard Drake rapping, and he was dissing DeMar DeRozan and trying to act all tough with just some weird NBA bars that were really just more embarrassing than anything else when you really consider the stakes of it all. Well, listen, beyond the
I didn't like we used to plan our trips to Cabo together. Like he was like a baddie on spring break. I didn't like that lyric. But
shockingly bad song from Drake in 2025. With the release and optics of all this, while it seemed like Drake was the one who dropped this and he was just trying to test the waters for the track before he got made fun of with another musical release yet again, well, now at the very least, what Drake wants us to think, and this will be important for later, is that in terms of what they are presenting to us, this could not be further from the case, because now what we have found out, and based on what we have seen from Drake calling Aiden Ross and freaking out about it live on stream for everybody to hear it.
I still am not convinced that that was a full, real freak out. With the way that he talked to Aiden Ross, I just reacted to my last video. I don't fully believe that. It didn't feel as urgent as one of my songs just leaked. But
really does seem bad is that these songs in this album are leaking without Drake's actual input and idea, and it's actually happening, and this is not a gimmick. And now with this, first off, once again, all of those lyrics from Kendrick Lamar about him having leaks.
Oh, snap. Y'all remind me. I forgot. I gotta react to all those Kendrick Lamar Gatorade commercials because there is a message when you watch all them together. Y'all remind me to do that.
And moles in his own camp and not being able to keep anything close or within his own circle. I mean, they have just never looked more true, and you have never looked more lame, because once again, even with this album and Iceman, which is now the most important thing Drake will ever release to the future of his career and the actual impact and legacy that he will leave. I mean, even his Karen Clown self could not keep this thing a secret and under the proper hands and wraps that it needed to be so that this didn't happen. And well, he has once again failed, which now, quick side note.
I absolutely, positively agree with that. Iceman is probably the most important Drake album ever. Now, I will say, it's a little bit goalpost moving because that's what Sexy Sounds for You was supposed to be, but you know what he did. You know what he did. I think he smelled, oh, people ain't going. So I'm gonna promote this something different. Oh no, this is an R&B album, even though I'm rapping on it and singing just as much as I do any other album. So you could have called any of his albums R&B albums, but oh, let's do that. It's the same thing you did in More Life when you realize, oh, nigga, this might not, Dan might come through and wreck some shit. This might not be, oh, it's a playlist. That's what it feels like. But to me, the only reason why Iceman is more important is because they can't use that play again. I thought it was weird that they were able to use it twice. It'd be like, no, that Sexy Sounds for You didn't count. And brainwash people to be like, oh no, it's an R&B album. But it's like, can you compare the amount of singing on this album to any amount of Drake's, and isn't it significantly more? Go to one that you consider a hip hop album. Is there significantly more singing on this? No. It's close to the same, if not a little bit more. But it's like, okay.
With this, what I do really wonder when you think about Kendrick Lamar's lyric and everything he was saying in 616 in LA, with there being a mole in OVO and somebody that was giving him information, could this have been something that wasn't just true, but that really is still affecting Drake to this day? And is there really just people in Drake's circle that are actively trying to ruin him? But now where things do get weird beyond that is when we see who ended up getting this album from whoever leaked it. which are these streamers who go by the name Bagwork and who have no big past or connection to Drake before this.
The reason why my conspiracy brain gonna start kicking in. The reason why I don't feel like we're allegedly, it's just my thoughts, because them OVO law team probably be checking every upload. It's, allegedly, my opinion is, if they really leaked this and OVO and Drake had nothing to do with this, I don't feel they'd be as emboldened to be showing their faces and to be so openly. Leakers don't usually do that because you can get in massive legal trouble for that. Massive. You gotta remember, bro, you going against what, Universal? You're stealing their product and you're putting it out. So them like showing their face and like branding, like, we did it, this is our names, it's a little fishy. It's a little fishy.
Even what they have been doing and the moment they just created by leaking,
like they know they're not going to get in trouble.
Not even really Aiden Ross knew who they were. I mean, with all of this is pretty weird. But now what these guys have been doing is just playing Drake music all weekend, and they are saying right now that they are going to put out the whole album pretty soon, which is a big claim. And if I was Drake, I sure would be scrambling. But well, now from what they played so far, what we have heard are features and songs from Drake that do have features from Pressa on them, and then there are some Playboi Carti vocals that have been found, which is interesting to note, and I do wonder what's going on there. But well, now beyond the music, why we really do know that Drake is once again, at the very least, trying to convince us that he is mad that Iceman is leaking and that this is something that he did not plan. Honestly, if it was any other artist, I don't think we would ever need to say this, but for who Drake is and for the type of gimmicky rollouts that he does, you can just...
And because push-ups, the way push-ups dropped is eerily reminiscent of this.
Never be surprised. But honestly, what really does show how frustrated Drake may be and what really may be going on is what happened after this DeMar DeRozan diss surfaced, which was a call that Drake had with Aiden Ross right on his stream for everybody to hear. And with this, I mean, wow, this thing was bad, as Drake really was going into full Cupcake Karen mode. He was just whining, and at that whining bad, as he ranted and just blurted out the phrase in both shock and anger that this was crazy, and he was saying that over and over again, and then he was asking Aiden who these streamers were and why they were doing this, and he was cursing up the storm within this rant. And honestly, when you hear Drake talk, he sounded so sad and emotional, and well, with this, even despite...
This ain't got nothing to do with what we're talking about, but, sometimes I question, what is Drake's obsession with people like Aiden and stuff like that? And I realize Drake knows he's in a position of the escalator is going down, it's not going up. And I think his team knows that the only way that he's going to have some sort of cultural relevance with the generation coming up is if he connects with streamers. So people are telling him, you need these streamers, this, that, and the third. These are starting to become his new label, management, PR team. When you call in Aiden Ross, let's act like this was all true. When you call in Aiden Ross to figure out who leaked your album, started to make me go, yeah, I see what this is, bro. This is more of a like life raft. I need y'all to be on my side. So I'm gonna shout out the streamers. But obviously not all of them gonna rock with me. So I'm gonna pick the Aiden Rosses, the XQCs. You picked all the weirdest ones. So it's like, yeah, man.
Aiden trying to cool the mood down and joke with Drake and ask him for the song, which, quick side note, I did think that was funny because Aiden was really being so unserious and Drake was just freaking out about this whole thing happening. I mean, with all of this, what we do know is that the Iceman was crying and whining on stream, and he is legitimately melting at the moment. And again, while Drake is a hard person to believe, and we know that he has done more shameful things for a rollout, listen, no matter where you stand, at the very least, we do have to say that Drake wants us to believe that this record is being leaked, which, to be honest, for Drake, while I do believe that he did actually end up being clueless enough to end up getting these songs into the wrong hands at some point, and he did just find out about this and is livid. As a thinker and somebody who does know how he moves, I almost do wonder if his carelessness with sharing this around, which has to be the reason how these streamers got this song, ended up being the reason why this is all happening in the first place, because if it was not Drake and his own impulse or somebody in OVO who did this, how would they have possibly got this now? But really, what I do think with that said now is that despite Drake's own carelessness getting this released and him being mad about it, which I do think just based on the genuine reaction, it kind of does seem like like we hear on the Aiden Raw stream, that is a real thing, and that was the reality so
Damn, you said that like 6 different times, my nigga. But yeah, no, I still don't know if I'm convinced that that's what it is.
far. It does not mean that there isn't a play at hand, and maybe there is still an ulterior motive that we do not know about behind all of this. And now what I am saying is that currently, while Drake may be mad because of the shock and confusion, and maybe what else this may mean for him and OVO as a whole, is it also possible that he could be happy? Because with this story now getting bigger, and with us now being on the verge of getting more and more moments from the Iceman album as a whole, all the way to the point where the entire thing may be ruined in just moments, well, ultimately, for a record that so far all of the singles that have released for it have bricked so bad, really everything has looked worse and worse with each episode.
It's been bad. It's been dark.
Rollout. And honestly, we are at a point now where Drake hasn't just made himself valued less ever, but really this thing does look like it's going to go triple aluminum. Well, with all of this, I say,
like I said, I don't think Drake, if Iceman like numbers wise does bad, I will be shocked. I'll be if numbers wise, no matter how much I don't like this nigga, and this nigga put me in paperwork and shit like that, and I'm always bring that up. But I think Drake is placed in the position where he's grandfathered in certain numbers because there's certain publications that's going to post a certain that even on just curiosity, people are going to check it out. Drake's music has been performing not well at all. I'm going to keep it tall. I think this is the most amount of songs Drake has dropped without getting a number one since The Heart Part 6, which is, it's not really an argument there at that point. There's something is wrong. But I always think he gonna do a certain amount of numbers always because the brand. If it's like a flop, which I don't think is gonna be numbers wise, we're gonna have to have a couple conversations. If Iceman breaks, which I just don't think it's possible. I don't think it's numbers wise possible. You know they're gonna put it on the playlist. I just don't believe. If it does, if he can't get a number one off Iceman, it's Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
All of that to say that when you look at the law-loving Ice Spice man, he now does have the perfect excuse to delay or scrap this album altogether, which is now that he can whine and just say and play victim to his fans while running away from everybody else, and of course we will all know the actual trick, which is that he is scared, but with hiding behind this narrative that Iceman was leaked and the music was ruined, so now he has to go back to the drawing board and do it all over again. I mean, honestly, there could not be a better way for Drake to potentially dodge having to release a record that genuinely does look like it's not just going to be a bad record in terms of the quality and merit of it, but that it may just be his worst performing album ever.
If he drops his worst performing album ever, Drake's cooked. Drake's cooked. I've always thought that like Drake is cooked when it comes to like new fans and the growth. Like I think the brand growth might be at a peak, might grow a little bit more, but I believe that he's grandfathered into a certain position where it's just like Jay-Z's grandfathered in a certain amount of numbers. Now, he could disappear and not go in and come back out, and we're all going to be talking about Jay-Z. If he drops his worst performing album, should have left my name out the paperwork. I'm gonna just blame my mother's prayers, nigga. That's on you. You should have. My mama prayers be hitting like 7.62s, nigga. That was your fault. Yeah.
So with the Cupcake, while he is not necessarily in the worst situation, and this actually may have helped him out depending on how things go very soon.
Oh yeah, and I've also heard numerous people saying this too, and it would make sense that if he's been leaking these songs to get an opinion, because you've been thinking about the Iceman episodes, bro, he's not been generating music out of those that people like. The last one was awful to the point people were like, oh, this is dumpster juice. And if we do hear a pushback on Iceman or a cancel, then I'm going to tell you right now, if there's a pushback, he's scrapping that last album. Whatever we're about to hear is going to be a new work because he's let the things out. I think he's got enough negative opinions that he's now going to be like, okay, well, we out of here. We're not going to do that one. So we'll see. Y'all can make sure y'all check out the rest of this video. I've only watched half of it, but we got to the gist of it. The boy feel like he leaking certain records, didn't get the reaction he wanted. And now we're going to wait and see if something gets pushed back or canceled. I don't know.